As always, we start off in Hoover, and for this filter review, I'm going to a nice little waterfall that I've went to before up in Cullman, Alabama. It's the Larkwood Waterfall, just off Larkwood Drive. I've been here before. I think I've actually made a previous vlog about it. This should be an excellent place to test out the capabilities of this neutral density filter. The last time I shot it, I didn't have a filter with me, and so I couldn't get the smooth, glassy look of the water. I apologise for this. For some reason, it did not record any sound during this video. But basically what I was saying was, here I am, ready to test the new ND filter that I've received. Came up to the waterfall, and as you can see, there was absolutely no water. For all the rain that we've had in Alabama this summer, that came as a huge shock to me. But no water basically means no test of the filter. So let's rethink this, go somewhere else, and see if we can actually get a review of the neutral density filter. So here we are, trip number 2. We're going from Cullman, Alabama, all the way over to Gadsden to Noccalula Falls. Let's go see if there's any water at Noccalula Falls. It's one of the largest waterfalls in Alabama. It added about another 40 to 50 miles onto the trip, something I totally had not planned on doing. But this is Noccalula Falls in Gadsden. So as you can see behind me, we made it up to a waterfall. This is Noccalula Falls in Gadsden, and I'm going to be testing out my lens filter. See how slow we can actually go. So what are we actually talking about when we're talking about the filter? Well, this is the box it came in. It's a B+W F-Pro filter, 1000 times, and this is the actual filter itself, 82mm. As you can see, it's quite dark. That's because it will shut down between 6 and 10 stops of light without affecting the colour. So this is what we're actually talking about. So yesterday we went on a travel to go shoot some waterfalls. Unfortunately, the first waterfall that we went to, there was no water. It was fairly much just a waste of time. So we went over to Noccalula Falls, which usually has some water, and we started shooting there. The main reason for this was to test out a new neutral density filter I got for my lenses. It's a 1000 times, which is actually about between a 6 and a 10 stop ND filter. So let's take a look at some of the pictures that we got. Now the first picture here, to get a baseline, was taken without the filter on. Yeah, first couple of pictures were taken without the filter. It's f11 ISO 100, it's bright sunny day. It's 1/250th of a second. And if you zoom in, you can see that the water is actually quite sharp. So the next thing that we wanted to do, now notice also that I've not done anything, these are just raw imports. So the next thing I wanted to do was to see how low I could go in camera without using the filter. And there should be an F20, that's more, oh, excuse me. So here we are framing up a shot. I think this is the, that's at 30 seconds. So this is with the filter. This is it. So we stopped down to f22, ISO 100, just to see how slow we could go in camera. And as you can see, the water's starting to get that nice silky smooth feel to it, which is what we're looking for. F22, we bumped it down to ISO 50 and took it to 1/5 of a second. You can still see some of the droplets, but you know, we're getting there. And this is about the best that you can do in camera on a sunny day, 1/5 of a second. Then we added the filter. This is with the neutral density filter, ISO 50 f2.8, so we turned it wide open. And now we're shooting at 6 seconds. And look at the difference between this, where you can still see some of the droplets, and this, which is silky smooth. But we're at ISO 50 and f2.8, so at this point we're fairly much wide open. F11, ISO 50, and now we're shooting at 30 seconds. And even the parts up here, let's see if we can zoom into that a little bit further. Even the water up here, it's actually slightly out of focus, is silky smooth. So this is what we're wanting, and this is what the neutral density filter does. It doesn't affect colours, the colours are still fine. It just allows you to get a slower shutter speed. So f5.6, that's a little bit on the bright side, but and f22 is a little bit on the dark side. Now you'll notice this tree here, it was a little bit windy, so when you're shooting at 30 seconds, anything that moves is going to get motion blurred, which is what we wanted with the water. Unfortunately, it happened with the tree as well. So we kept shooting. F11, ISO 100, and just look how, that's a 3-to-1. Just look how silky smooth that water is. Now,
This is a brand new filter, so one of the things that you've got to look for is color fringing, and this usually happens at the edges, and on a Canon camera it usually shows up as purple if you've got a cheaper ND filter on, and I'm not seeing any of it. Tack sharp right to the edges. This is the 24-70 2.8 lens. I'm not seeing any colour fringing. There's a little bit of purple showing up on the histogram, but really nothing there. F11 ISO 100. So we took it down to f7.1. We're at 15 seconds rather than 30. Everything looks great. Then we changed positions. We came over to get the statue in. Now, this is a wider shot, but I actually changed positions. Here we go. So this is the statue of the Indian chief or chieftain, whatever, who threw herself off Nokalula Falls. It's named after her. Little on the bright side. Oh, we're at ISO 400. 5 seconds. Just playing around with settings to see what I can actually shoot at with this filter. Six seconds, bumped up the ISO, we're still at ISO 400, and we're getting really nice pictures. So we took it to f22, a full 30 seconds. Silky, silky smooth. There's no colour fringing, there's no chromatic aberration. Now this is a B+W filter, it's a little bit on the more expensive side, shall we say. It's $150, $140. I prefer B+W filters just because you get the really good quality rather than going out and buying a, why would you want to buy a $10 filter, $10 piece of glass to put on a $2,000 lens? So if you've got a better lens, you really want a nice filter, and B+W supply that. This is the 1 to 400 it took. So 30 seconds, ISO 50 at f22. So there we go. Our trip to Nokalula Falls at least wasn't a complete waste of time. I got to test out the filter, and from the results I'm seeing, I'm loving it. This is a great filter. And whenever there's going to be a waterfall, or I'm near a waterfall, or even on a very bright day, I can bump up the ISO, get slightly slower shutter speed than what I can normally in camera, and the results are going to be excellent.